Buffalo versus lion. Lions are fierce predators that'll violently attack their prey. Buffalo are a popular meal amongst lions, so seeing one near a herd of buffalo isn't surprising. What is surprising is how these buffalo were able to brutally kill this lion. They stampede, and in the process, they trample this lone lion. The lion flies into the air as more and more dust gets picked up by the buffalo. After a while, the lion gets launched into a shallow bit of water, where the buffalo notice it has died. They give it a few more hits just for good measure. This buffalo is getting attacked by a lion. The lion has its huge paws attached to the buffalo's face, but this buffalo won't give up the fight and decides to utilize its horns. It gives the lion a sharp blow and leaves the lion bloody and weak. The lion still tries to fight, but each time the buffalo just leaves this predator more and more bloody and weak. Here we see a buffalo being attacked by 3 young lions. While they may have their teeth sunk into this buffalo, it has its horn sunk into one of them. A good portion is lodged deep into the lion's armpit, and if this buffalo swings hard enough, the lion could receive fatal injuries. Otters versus caiman. In this next clip, we see how strong a group of otters can be. This family is floating around when they spot a caiman in the water. Instead of swimming away in fear, like most prey would, they band together and attempt to capture it. They do just that and are able to successfully drag the caiman out of the water and into the bushes to begin their meal. Otters are adorable creatures that spend much of their time in the water. They look innocent, but behind that cute appearance is a ferocious fighter. These otters hang around in the shallow end of this body of water and encounter a caiman. A caiman is easily able to capture all kinds of animals, but these otters don't seem to mind at all. They tease the caiman and even nip at its tail. The caiman doesn't appreciate this, but it also seems to be wary when it comes to fighting back, so it gives up before it can even begin. This otter doesn't need backup for its next task. It spots a caiman in the water and sneaks up behind it. The caiman is unable to see this sneaky otter, which allows it to bite the caiman right on the tip of its tail. This shocks the caiman and gets it to spring towards the otter, but the otter is able to make its escape before the grumpy caiman can fight back. Giraffe versus lion. A giraffe may not look tough, but they can be brave in the face of danger. This giraffe is being hunted by a couple of lions. A lion would normally be able to latch on and start attempting to kill the giraffe, but this giraffe is able to fend it off just by delivering a few good kicks. When a giraffe is being chased by a lion, there's not much time to think of a strategy to win. So when it comes down to it, a giraffe may choose to use the sheer force of its hind legs. This lion gets too close to the giraffe's hind legs and gets trampled on. This distracts the lion enough to allow the giraffe to escape cleanly. Giraffes have a height advantage, standing up to 19 feet tall, but they are still targets for apex predators, such as these lions. The giraffe can't fight back as well as other animals, but this giraffe won't let these setbacks stop it from escaping from this attack. This giraffe is able to rid itself of the lions that have latched onto its body, and just to intimidate, it stomps its front hooves a couple of times, letting the lions know not to mess with it. Heron versus alligator. Alligators are well known as one of nature's apex predators. Birds can be carnivorous, but they definitely are lower down on the food chain. That's why it may come as a complete shock to witness a heron eating an alligator. This heron holds a baby alligator in its beak and shakes it around a couple of times. Then it eats its head first, right down the hatch. Here is another look at a heron eating a baby alligator. A full-size alligator has no problem eating birds like the heron. And if this baby alligator's mother was around, this heron would be the one being eaten. But it continues on with its meal with no sense of urgency. Watch how the heron eats. It takes this meaty meal and tosses it around in its beak to get it to slither down its throat. Most of this heron's diet may be slippery and slimy and fishy, but the rough skin of this baby alligator seems to be more of a challenge for the heron, a challenge it is more than willing to accept. Ants versus scorpion. Scorpions are avoided because they are known to sting. Ants have a pretty nasty bite too, but we mostly see this as nothing more than an annoyance. But get enough ants together and those annoyances sure add up. These ants are on the hunt and find a scorpion. The scorpion seems ready to battle a few ants, but these ants swarm and completely take over the scorpion. The battle doesn't last long, as the scorpion has no other choice than to succumb. An ant's technique is to completely prevent its prey from escaping. One ant will hurt the victim, then more come in until their prey is eventually wrapped in an inescapable jacket of ants. Ants are strong, and together they're able to move and manipulate whatever it is they have attacked. This scorpion is eventually under the control of these ants. The ants move the scorpion's body around so they can get in a few more bites to be sure it's finished. An ant is small and vulnerable on its own. That's why ants believe in power in numbers. An ant can't do the job alone, and that's why hundreds of ants band together when they go in for a kill. This scorpion fell victim to such an incident and tried to scurry away, but it was too late, and this large group of ants were able to swarm and completely cover this scorpion until it died. Dog versus bear. Domesticated dogs have grown out of a lot of their primal instincts. Your pooch may still chase some birds or try and eat a lizard, but dogs normally won't go after bigger predators. But that doesn't mean some of them won't try. This dog spots a bear in a backyard and feels threatened by it, so it chases it away. The dog comes charging at it and barks and growls, intimidating the bear. The bear runs off while the dog chases on. This dog sees an approaching bear and becomes aggressive. Bears know not to fight another animal that becomes aggressive unless they are sure they can kill it. This dog was able to show its courage enough to ward off the bear. When you think of dogs scaring bears off their owner's property, you imagine a big dog, maybe a Rottweiler or a pit bull. But in this clip, we have a cute little French bulldog spotting a couple of bear cubs and chasing them right off the grounds. It gets right up to the bear's space and barks at them. This French bulldog doesn't stop until these bears are completely gone. Now that is some bravery. Here, we have a dog that isn't too happy with this large trespasser. Dogs can get very protective of their territory, especially if it is inhabited by the other dogs and people it aims to protect. Dogs have been known to go through quite some hefty fights in order to save their owners. This dog is here to help show that. Watch as it barks at this large bear. The dog shows its teeth, attempting to intimidate. The dog even gets a few bites in, snapping right at the bear's face. This dog must have proven its bravery because the bear decides to not fight back and allows this ferocious dog to live another day. Rat versus snake. Rats are known as a typical food source for all kinds of snakes. It's basically a go-to meal for these animals. But sometimes a rat will fight back. Here, we see a rat aggressively gnawing on the tail of a snake. The snake doesn't seem all too mad, but it sure seems bothered. It moves around, but the rat continues on and follows this snake's tail, continuously chewing on it. This snake is in a box with a rat. The rat is most likely the snake's meal, but this rat has other plans. Its aggression builds up and it snaps. It lunges at the snake and the snake flinches in fear. This rat is not ready to be eaten. Porcupine versus leopard. In this clip, we see the aftermath of a leopard's fight with a porcupine. The thick quills are stuck all over this leopard's face and paws. It tries to remove them by licking itself, but this doesn't work. The end of one tip can have 700 to 800 barbs, so that means these quills are in there pretty good. Here, we see a curious leopard pawing at a porcupine. When attacked, a porcupine will attempt to face backwards towards its opponent. This is to ensure the predator gets prodded and gives up the fight. These leopards all have quills stuck to them, showing us just how far their curiosity led them. Leopards are willing to put up big fights in order to kill their meals. This leopard has just caught a porcupine and soon discovers that it will need to put in a lot of work to get to that meat of this critter. As the leopard bites into the porcupine, quills stab into its mouth and paws. The leopard foolishly persists and ends up picking it up and taking it elsewhere to finish up this meal. Although this porcupine is already dead, it is able to kill the leopard painfully. As the leopard bites into the quills, the sharp points leave open wounds on the leopard. When these open wounds get infected, they become lethal. It's karma at its finest. Squirrel versus snake. Squirrels are stereotypically known to love nuts, but that doesn't mean they don't crave a little tender meat. This squirrel got in a bit of a tussle with a snake. The snake tried to fight it off, but the squirrel remained brave. It used its little paws to grip the small end of the snake's tail and chew on it, avoiding all of this snake's attacks. Squirrels can be persistent. When this snake tries to attack this squirrel is ready to fight back until someone loses. It lunges forward and returns the attacks, following the snake around. The squirrel is fast and is able to block many of the snake's attacks. This is one angry squirrel. This squirrel is biting down on a thick snake. It has a grip on it and struggles a bit to bite through the thick skin. It still tries though, and as the snake attempts to escape, the squirrel uses its paws to hold it down and continues on with gnawing through its skin. Elephant versus crocodile. Elephants may be large, but they aren't always in charge. Elephants fall victim to attacks from a variety of apex predators, but this elephant is not having it. It spots a crocodile near its feet and uses its feet to stomp on it. When that doesn't do the trick, this elephant gets crafty and uses its head and trunk to fight it off. The crocodile may be persistent, but so is this elephant. This group of elephants are not alone. They are in the presence of two large crocodiles. Elephants know how dangerous these crocodiles can be, so some of them take control and charge at these crocodiles. The running, paired with their loud roars, is enough to send these two crocs packing. Here is a clip where a crocodile is able to attack an elephant. It grabs it by its trunk, but what this crocodile didn't think about is how determined the other elephants are to protect each other. One of the bigger elephants uses its trunk to pry the crocodile off of the injured elephant and charge toward it to scare it right back into the water where it belongs. Porcupine versus lion. In this clip, we see just how porcupines can protect themselves from lions. This group of lions has found a porcupine that they believe will be their next kill. They go for it, but since the porcupine's back is turned, all these lions get are injuries that will definitely sting. A porcupine will stand still and let its predators come to it. It is falsely believed that porcupines can shoot their quills out, but what really happens is a porcupine will stiffen its back and brace itself as animals, such as these lions, grab at it. These lions go for a strong attack, so that means the porcupine's quills will jab them quite deeply. This lion is curious about this pointy porcupine. It jumps at it and comes in contact with several of its quills. This agitates the lion and it attempts to run after the porcupine, but it eventually has to stop because the quills in its paws make it too painful to run. Donkey versus hyena. Donkeys don't have the greatest reputation. Many don't see them as strong animals, but that doesn't mean they aren't willing to fight other animals. This donkey is fighting with a hyena that decided to mess with it. Watch as the donkey drags the hyena around and makes sure it can't fight back. The donkey absolutely takes control of this situation as if it were the predator. This donkey is running around with a hyena. Hyenas are usually the more violent of the two, but this donkey attacks the hyena and even pins it to the ground, rendering it helpless. Here is another hyena and donkey. The hyena lays low, showing that the donkey has the more dominant position. The donkey uses its body to fall onto the hyena and hold it to the ground so the hyena isn't able to get up and fight back. This donkey is really putting its whole body into the fight. Zebra versus lion. Zebras are a relatively easy target for lions. This lion caught itself a young zebra. The other zebras have all run away at this point. Well, all except for one concerned adult zebra. It watches the lion, but then decides to help the younger zebra out. It walks up to the two of them and uses its head to ram into the lion. Once the lion moves back a bit, the zebra is able to deliver a swift kick to the lion's head. This allows the zebras to get away and leaves the lion with a bruised ego. Zebras can be real fighters, and this zebra proves no different. It drags the lion across the ground and continues to buck and jump, causing it to smack the lion into the ground. The zebra eventually is able to escape from the lion's grasp and runs off. Here is a clip showing off a zebra's true superpower, its kick. This lion is chasing a zebra, and as the zebra runs off, it kicks its hind legs and launches the lion into the air. A zebra's kick can deliver nearly 3,000 pounds of force, so imagine the damage this lion took. Rat versus pigeon. Rats can be pesky, but most birds know how to handle them. This rat shows off just how brave it can be when it enters a coop filled with pigeons and decides to wreak havoc. This rat catches one of the pigeons that is sitting on the ground. It attacks and the pigeon retreats, but the rat continues on and climbs up the different levels holding all of the pigeons. You can see the pigeons flapping their wings in fear as the rat scouts out its next victim. While rats mostly try to stay out of harm's way and eat whatever scraps they can get their tiny paws on, this rat decided to go for a big meal and took on a pigeon. It wrestles a bit with a dying pigeon until it stops moving. It drags it around a little, and eventually we see that this pigeon has quite a big gash on it. This rat was determined and took the pigeon off, most likely ready to devour it. As we've seen, rats can put up a fight. A pigeon and a rat are going at it here. It seems as though the pigeon has the advantage, but we see that the rat is leading in this dance. The pigeon tries to flap its wings and walk away, but the rat is like a weight that continuously pulls at the poor bird. The rat's teeth are sunk in, and the pigeon has no choice but to give up. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these two videos on your screen. We'll see you there.